Shelby Bells, it's Shelby. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in for another video. In today's video, you guys, I want to talk about James Charles, Jeffree Star, Tati Westbrook, and Shane Dawson. And those are some names that I guess people have been making a couple videos recently about all four of these together after Jeffree Star's interview on the Impulsive podcast. But aside from that, we really haven't heard these four mentioned in the same sentence in a pretty long time since their involvement in the second Dramageddon, Dramageddon 2, where Tati made her Bi Sister video, and then James Charles made his No Lies video, and all of that ensued. Jeffree Star is making things right. Shane Dawson, when he exploded on Instagram on Tati, and all of that. And we haven't really heard much about these four together since then. You know, after the Jeffree Star Impulsive podcast, we've seen these people kind of come back onto the internet, kind of start fresh where they're going to, where they're going to be after Dramageddon, after that big cancellation, when all of them really got canceled, where they are, where they're headed, and what kind of changes they've made. And I kind of want to talk about that with you because something kind of stood out in my mind when I was watching all of these and I was thinking back on all of that. If you want to hear more about that drama, make sure that you keep on watching. Okay, before we get into today's drama, if you are new here, my name is Shelby. I'm the crazy cat lady of the drama community on YouTube. I spill all the tea 7 days a week with the help from Mr. and Miss Kitty. They help me spill the tea on all the hot, juicy gossip on your favorite celebrities, influencers, Bravo people. Like, I do like Real Housewives videos. I do videos on like all the YouTube influencers. I've done videos on major celebrities. If you're into all that, that's what I do here. I've got the help from Miss Kitty here, right, miss? So if you guys are into that kind of thing, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel down below. Don't forget, all Shelby Bells ring the bell. Okay, miss, so what were you saying? Okay, Miss Katie wanted me to tell you guys about Tati Westbrook's video that she uploaded today to YouTube. Tati moved to Texas. I think we already talked about it on this channel a while ago, but what happened, miss? Tati briefly mentioned her state of mind back when she lived in LA with all of the drama going on versus her state of mind now, right, miss? Right. And so then me and Miss Kitty started talking, and Miss Kitty was like, that's so interesting because Jeffree just talked about that whole thing, and then now Tati's mentioning it. When Shane came back, he addressed it, and the only person we haven't really seen with changed behavior, and I'll get into that in a minute, is with James Charles. Isn't that right, Miss Kitty? So it's almost like, let's get into this because I have a lot of thoughts on this, okay? So we're gonna take each of these people one by one and talk about what life looks like for them after Dramageddon, because I think this is a really interesting topic. That was a major, that was one of the first times that this YouTube drama hit like major media headlines. The stuff about James Charles and Tati Westbrook and Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson and stuff was all over the regular media news as well. And before that, we hadn't really seen very many cases, with the exception of like the thing with Logan Paul and the guy in the woods in Japan. With the exception of like major stuff like that, we hadn't really seen drama in the mainstream news, especially from the beauty community. So this is a really, really challenging, trying time, I'm sure, for all four of these people. And undoubtedly, I'm sure it did have a great effect on all of them and how they are moving forward. At least it should have, if you take what happened and you actually learn from it. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today. So if we're looking at all four of these people, so let's first take a look at Shane Dawson. So Shane Dawson was off the internet for like a year, like over a year, okay? He was off the internet. We didn't hear from him on social media at all. We didn't see him. We didn't see anything, okay? And a lot of people were like, after a while, because the Shane Dawson thing, I think debatedly, like he got canceled debatedly more than anybody else, which is kind of shocking to me considering the things that James Charles did. I think they actually broke the law, but James Charles wasn't held to as high of a standard as Shane Dawson was, and Shane Dawson ended up being canceled way harder than James Charles was. Now, I am not saying that what Shane Dawson has said in his past and has done in his past is right, but the interesting thing about Shane Dawson and when he got canceled was the things that he was getting canceled for. All of these things happened many, many years ago, and I'll be honest with you guys, when it first happened, when that whole thing was going on, 2020 or whatever, I was also very like anti-Shane Dawson, and here I am later with now I'm wearing Shane Dawson merch. I was very, very against everything that was going on with him. I was very, very like anti-Shane. I couldn't believe that I found this stuff out about this creator that I really liked, because back in the day like that, I didn't watch YouTube, so I didn't know. So I was shocked to hear these things, and I was really upset about it. And the same goes for Jeffree Star. But the thing is, all of those things happened many, many years ago, and Shane's behavior on the internet since then did not mirror or reflect anything that he had posted back in the day. In fact, he had changed his content entirely. He has still done things that some people are going to say are questionable, like defending these problematic influencers by creating docuseries about them to kind of like win them over in the public eye again. The series with Jake Paul, the series with Tana Mojo, the series with Jeffree Star. But at the same time, he wasn't doing these, these things that he was getting canceled for back in the day. Like, he wasn't doing blackface. He wasn't doing these the things, talking about his animals in weird ways. He wasn't, saying things about underage girls like he did with Willow Smith and stuff. He had realized that behavior was not okay and was inappropriate and wrong, and he had changed. Okay, he had changed what his content was about. And I really think that Shane Dawson wants to be taken like seriously as a filmmaker, and I think that he was using these docuseries, these documentaries, as a way to kind of gateway himself into creating some more longer cinematic form content. Now, whether you agree with the people that he made videos about, or you think that they were good videos, whether you think that he should have made videos about these people, I mean, that's neither here or there. The people that he made videos about have nothing to do with him. Those are just people he decided to work with to create content. They were just collabs. And I think that, honestly, I'm going to say this, and this might be controversial, but I think that specifically through Shane Dawson and everything that happened with him, I learned that it is imperative that we look at changed behavior and before we decide to cancel somebody for something they did a million years ago. Because if somebody went digging through my past and stuff, I'm sure they could find something where I said that was insensitive or something like that, because guess what? I'm human. And when I was younger, I didn't understand certain things, and it's just you learn and you grow. And especially in today's society in 2022 is a very, very different one than we lived in back in like 2008, 2009. Back in 2008, 2009, we were very, very insensitive. We said the worst things about different marginalized groups of people, and back then that was humor. In 2022, it's not, and people will call you out on that. And the thing that we have to remember about it is that times have changed, and we've evolved as a species to know that these things are not okay anymore. So I'm going to play you a clip from when Shane Dawson first came back to YouTube.
We say I'm sorry. Yes, we do. Don't worry, I'll get to that.
Oh gosh.
We make mistakes. Yes, we do. I'll get to that. We forgive quickly. How about you get to that? Okay, no, you can hate me. If you hate me, honestly, I feel better that way, because it's like lowering the bar. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Because I finally don't really care anymore what other people think about me, except for myself. But I don't really like me either, so it's in a weird place. So obviously, I don't know how to talk about this because I have had such a intense last year and a half, and I'm doing really good, and I'm really happy, and I'm just excited about life. So, but I do feel like I have to talk about some stuff. It's weird. I don't know. It's like I definitely feel ashamed and embarrassed and horrified over a lot of the stuff that started, old clips and stuff that started coming out when I got canceled, and then all of that. Awful. Then it snowballed, but I don't want to it's weird, because if I talk about it how I really feel, people are going to say, oh, you're trying to get sympathy or whatever. So I don't want to talk about it. I feel like people are just going to hate me no matter what, and I kind of just have to accept it. And then there's going to be people who appreciate what I do, and then there's going to be people who are going to say I died, and then people are going to believe it. And then, I'm not dead. What if I was? Sorry. That's an idea! Sorry. Just, can you imagine?
You dying?
Yes, but no, but coming back from the dead and here's my new series. Okay, sorry. Anyways, let's just get back to the house tour. But also, the reason I moved to Colorado. So, I moved here for a lot of reasons. I'm just happier here. Every time I came out here for a holiday or something, I'm just so, it's like a weight is lifted. I love it. I love the atmosphere. I love the people. I love, Ryland's family's out here, which is amazing because they are like my family. Like, I love them so much. And also, in the next chapter of my life, I really do want to focus on what I've wanted to do forever, which is make horror movies. And Colorado is fucking scary. Like, Denver is one of the most haunted cities in the world.
And like you can hear in the clip here, guys, and he's uploaded several videos since then. He's been on Ryland's channel several times since then. Shane Dawson has gotten to this place, I feel like, where he's just completely different. He's grown up from the stuff that's happened. He's changed. He's matured emotionally, and he's different now. I really do think that. He got away from the toxic environment of LA, and he found himself again. Now, more recently, they are debating whether they're going to sell their California home or they're going to keep it and all of that, but they do have a house in Colorado, and that is where they call home right now. That is where the predominant, like the majority of their belongings are. That's where their animals are, or like where they should be. And I don't know if they brought the dogs or not or whatever, but that's really where everybody's home is, right? Is in Colorado. They still own property in California as of this point, and maybe they'll keep it as a rental property, or maybe they'll, use it as a vacation kind of a spot or whatever, but that's up for debate, I think, with them. They haven't completely like decided on it, I don't think. But at the same time, like Shane, I feel like moving and getting away from that toxicity in Los Angeles really helped him, and I feel like he matured throughout everything that happened with him regarding Dramageddon 2. I feel like this time he actually did learn his lesson, because this cancellation that he faced, he'd been canceled many times before in the past, but this cancellation was on a much greater scale than any of his prior cancellations. Okay, now let's talk about Jeffree Star. So Jeffree Star is an interesting character, because Jeffree Star, when you talk about Jeffree Star, he did leave the internet for a short amount of time, okay? But when I say the internet, I predominantly mean YouTube, okay? Jeffree Star, he, after all, has a cosmetics business that heavily relies on social media to push its products. So when you talk about Jeffree Star, he didn't leave for a long time like Shane Dawson or Tati Westbrook did. But what Jeffree Star did was he transferred much of his content to Instagram, and I think he did that as a way because, first of all, the YouTube audience was very much anti-Jeffree Star at that point, and I feel like Instagram, you get those people from YouTube, the YouTube audience, but you also get a whole separate audience that might not know anything about the drama, that's just there for the makeup. So he transferred a lot of his like product launches and his, even like IG, he was doing IG TV videos, which are like very different for him. Like we never really seen a YouTube influencer, a beauty influencer at that, or at least I'd never heard of one that started doing IG TV stories, and he was really trying to make that happen. And I think it was decently successful for him, but because we didn't see him posting all the same things on YouTube all the time, I think most of us, and myself included, I probably assumed that he wasn't doing as well for himself. Jeffree Star is very similar to Shane Dawson in the fact that when all this stuff was happening, I was like, oh my god, screw Jeffree Star, I'm not wearing Jeffree Star cosmetics. I was a beauty channel back when all this stuff happened, very small one at that, but I was saying like I would not use Jeffree Star products on my channel, I would not mention Jeffree Star products on my channel, and actually the majority of them that I had, I just did not touch. I think I only touched them literally a couple times when I was doing a look for a video and I just needed a color from the palette, but I refused to say what palette it was from or what color it was or anything. I refused to acknowledge Jeffree Star at all on my channel. And I think a lot of people felt that way. A lot of people kind of boycotted Jeffree Star and Jeffree Star Cosmetics during this big drama that they had during Dramageddon 2. After the fallout from that, everyone thought of Jeffree Star as the bad guy, and everyone wanted to take a stand by not using his products or mentioning his brand. Jeffree Star also did something very interesting as well, and he took all of his stuff and he moved to Casper, Wyoming to start a yak ranch. And it wasn't long after he moved to Casper, Wyoming that he was in a life-threatening car crash where he broke his back. And I think that car accident really did a lot to kind of put life into perspective for Jeffree. I think that the combination of going through what he went through in the car crash and seeing his life flash before his eyes, having to be in a back brace for so long, combined with, just being canceled for, majorly in mainstream media news for everything that had happened with this Dramageddon 2 with Tati, James, James, Jeffree, and Shane, I think that he just kind of started putting life into more perspective. And now he's saying that, you know, these material things, they don't really matter as much to him. And he just is kind of living in the moment with all of his animals. And he's kind of just a rancher now. Yak rancher. He has the biggest yak ranch in Wyoming. And he's doing really well with that. I feel like we're now seeing Jeffree Star as well, having left the toxic situation in LA. And now Jeffree has also kind of evolved and changed and matured and calmed down. I'll say that too. I feel like Shane has calmed down. I feel like Jeffree has calmed down. And they just kind of are appreciating a little bit more of what life is about. And life is not about social media. Life is not about views. Life is not about all of these things. Now, views and all that stuff is very nice. It's great. But it's not what makes life great. It's not what makes the world go round. It's not what makes things special. And I feel like with Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson, getting away was the best thing for them to do, especially after facing this crazy stuff. I'm going to play you a clip from the Impulsive podcast with Logan Paul that Jeffree Star was in, the interview they did, so you can kind of hear a little bit about where Jeffree's mindset's at now.
I enjoy making content, but I think beauty overall on YouTube is kind of dead.
A little bit. Why? Why is that?
All the drama, all the craziness, all the personalities, and it was just...
It just got no fun, huh?
It got so unfun.
So toxic.
So fucking toxic, so dark and ugly. All those people were awful. And they wanted to villainize me because me and Shane were the most successful. We had the biggest launch in makeup history. And this is just being so straight, like man to man, not tooting my own horn, but it was so cool. And people got mad at how successful we got. And they stirred up so many...
People throw rocks up, they don't throw rocks down.
And they didn't like how big we won, so all the beauty people got angry and tried to take us down. You know, it's like a whole... It's dark.
Were you like seriously affected by that stuff? Like, do you find yourself a happier person now that you're...
God, yes. Yeah. Way happier. Guys, I just got wrapped up in what everyone else was doing as well, and it was just like a huge, crazy like reality show is what it felt like.
The James and Tati stuff.
Yeah, that was what ruined the beauty community. Absolutely, yeah.
That was wild.
And then
that was an atom bomb. Yeah.
When you joined in, I think that's when we knew it was getting serious.
Oh yeah, it was really crazy.
Wyoming, it seems a bit random.
I think COVID opened up a lot of things that like realizations. Like I don't crave having the biggest house on the block. Like I didn't have an ego anymore. I grew up mentally, spiritually, and I'm just on a whole different wavelength.
So it's just like I think it's refreshing to see Jeffree Star in this way. Now, I know some people on the internet, they're always going to be anti-Jeffree Star. They're never going to like Jeffree Star after what happened with Dramageddon. They're never going to forgive Jeffree Star for the things he did and said in the past. And I understand that. Some people are always going to think that Jeffree Star is manipulative, that he is a crazy, bad person, and they're never going to like him again. And you know what? You probably do have to be a little bit cutthroat to make it as far as Jeffree Star has made it in the beauty industry and online as possible. But I'll say that about all four of these people we're talking about in this video. You have to be, I think, probably a little bit, aggressive and, kind of a go-getter to kind of go after these things that you want and actually get them. But I do think that we've seen changed behavior from Jeffree as well, where he has not been doing the things, saying the things about people and all of that we saw in the past from him. I think that, separating himself from the drama, breaking away from all those toxic friendships and stuff he had in Los Angeles, I think it's been healthy for him, and he is now kind of in a place where he's experiencing a little bit more peace. Now let's move on to the queen, Tati Westbrook. So Tati Westbrook, she disappeared from the internet also, just like Shane Dawson, for a very long period of time. And she was gone longer than Shane Dawson was. I think she was gone an additional 6 months, maybe longer than that, than Shane Dawson was. I don't exactly know the math on that, but she was gone from the internet for a long time. There were times when she would post some cryptic Twitter posts, with butterflies, or, just wear some weird song lyrics or something on Twitter. But for the most part, Tati Westbrook had ghosted on social media, and everyone was worried. Tati Westbrook, I think, is a really smart businesswoman, just like Shane Dawson, Jeffree Star, and James Charles are smart business people. I mean, you have to be smart in business to make it as far as Tati Westbrook has on social media. It is a lot about business on social media. So I think that she's very, very smart, but I think that Tati Westbrook is a person that has very strong emotions. I think she feels her emotions very strongly and very intensely, and as somebody who additionally feels their emotions very strongly and intensely, I can understand where Tati Westbrook comes from. I feel like Tati is someone who is very trusting, very wanting to believe the best in people all the time. And I also am kind of like that. And I get burned a lot. I get burned a lot because the truth is all day long that not everyone has the kind of heart that I do. And not everybody has my best interest at heart. So I have been burned several times in the past by letting myself trust people that I shouldn't. And I think that at the time all of this was happening, James and Jeffree just simply did not like each other. And I think it was petty social media. I don't like you because of this or that, the other stuff. I think that Jeffree at the time was in this mindset where he was feeling very snaky. He was feeling very much like, I can't believe that this guy James Charles is coming in here and he's doing all these things. He's succeeding, you know, at a much faster rate than I am. All of this stuff. I've been doing this for years. I walked so people like James Charles can run. Like, he was kind of feeling very much that. Like, when that whole situation with James and Jeffree were going on, this feud, I feel like Jeffree did make a mistake. He told Tati all of these things about James, right? Now, I think that those things have come out to be true, right? Those things have come out to be true. The stuff about the waiter and stuff is true. The accusations about James Charles are true. And you know, we haven't had it confirmed from the Dolan twins that the stuff with James Charles happened, but at the same time, they're not friends anymore. And we have heard all these other things that have happened with James Charles and straight men or underage kids and stuff. So to be honest with you, I don't like necessarily doubt that it's true. Also, we've never heard from Jeffree Star's ex-boyfriend's brother about everything that happened, but apparently something happened with him as well. We can't confirm or deny or say that those things actually happened because they haven't been like completely said by the person. But given James Charles' history and everything that has come to light since everything that happened with him, hindsight is 2020. And I feel like now we've realized that the things that Jeffree Star was telling Tati about James Charles, probably most of it was true. Probably, you know? And I feel like Tati, being a person who just wants to do good, she wants the right thing. She doesn't want to associate with bad people. She can't fathom young people being manipulated like that. She can't fathom people being pressured with their sexuality like James was allegedly doing. And I feel like she wanted to take a stand because if you know anything about Tati Westbrook, she will stand up for what she believes is right, especially when it pertains to herself. So we've seen that, you know, with her Halo Beauty and all of that. I feel like Tati was feeling immense pressure from the situation from all these big time creators, you know, like Jeffree Star and Shane Dawson, in her ear about this situation, and then also with her mindset about wanting to do what's right, wanting to stand up for the little guy, wanting to have justice for people and all that. I feel like all of that combined was so much pressure for Tati that she just kind of snapped and she made the decision to make that video. Now, you can't say that this is Jeffree Star's fault because he told her this. You can't, because Tati Westbrook at the time was a grown woman who decided to press record and then film this video and then upload the video. So she did make the decision to do that. It was not Jeffree Star or Shane Dawson, you know, holding a gun to her head and making her do that, okay? She did it herself. But at the same time, I feel like Tati was under this immense amount of pressure to get everything done. And now, you know, when Tati came back to the internet, she was in Seattle. She had moved away from Los Angeles, moved away from the toxicity in her life, but then that ended up not being a good fit for her either. So she is now in Texas. She lives in Dallas, Texas now. She's doing a home renovation and she's doing all of these things, you know, to kind of make a new life for herself in Dallas. And recently in a video, she went on to talk about, you know, her mindset back in California versus her mindset now. So I'm going to play for you what she said.
But I'm managing my peace. Like, I'm not anxious. I am fully trusting that life is going to work itself out. I trust that there's a plan over my life. I was laughing with James the other day. I'm like, can you even believe that we are not fighting, that we are supporting each other, that we are not like getting lost in all of this? Because I gotta say, not that I want to put myself down so much, but in LA, what you didn't see behind the scenes is that I could be a total stress case. My anxiety would literally get to the point where I would be like, don't talk to me. My throat is closing up. And then I'd be like, great, now you upset me and my throat's closing up and I can't breathe. And I just get like about like just all the pressure of being perfect and the businesses and the views and the friendships and personal life. And like, it was like, it was a lot. And so like that had its own like moment in time where if I would get stressed out about any of this, I'd really take it into my marriage. I can own that. And I just kind of have an attitude. And now it's the funniest thing because James and I are literally going through like real life, not petty stuff, like real life stuff. and we're closer than ever. We're more peaceful, happy, grounded than we've ever been. So while this has been a really tough past 30 days, we're good. So a random weird video.
And it just seems like, you know, Tati has grown as well. Tati has matured from the situation from Dramageddon because she separated herself from the internet. She got away from the bad toxicity that was, you know, bad for her in her life. Now, I'm not saying that Los Angeles is this toxic, super bad place to be. There's a million people that live in Los Angeles, more than that. And you know what? It doesn't necessarily mean that it's toxic for everyone. But I feel like when you're in the environment of social media in LA and you're around all of the beauty community at the time was just, it was really, really toxic. Being at the top of the beauty community like that and the jealousy and all of that, it was just a lot. And I feel like Tati matured. She realized what was best for her in this situation, for her to grow and to move forward, and she separated herself from it. Now, if you're looking at the last person in this equation, James Charles. James Charles never left the internet. I think he left the internet for like, what, 30 days? Or not even, like 2 weeks. Something really small, okay? He left the internet for not enough time at all. And then shortly after that, he had more scandals coming up about the same types of situations that the whole Dramageddon was about. And this time, people started listening and people started voicing their concerns about it, because this time it was with underage children and not with just like heterosexual men. And people voiced their opinions and still to this day, people voice their opinions about James Charles, but he has done nothing to make any changes. He posted an apology video, then he deleted it from his channel, because he admitted to doing a crime in the video, so he deleted the video. It's just like, I feel like James Charles is the only factor in this equation that is not, you know, adding up like the rest of them. The rest of them have made conscious decisions to improve their life, to mature, to emotionally, to, you know, heal, to move forward and move past all the toxic drama that happened, you know, with this Dramageddon. But I feel like James Charles has just kind of like ignored it, and then like just kind of kept going like nothing happened. And that's super problematic, because he's the one that this was all circled around. And you know what? A part of it was, I do believe, jealousy, that James Charles was coming up at such a rapid rate, faster than Tati did, faster than Jeffree did. But I also do think that, you know, the fact that James Charles has not taken a step back to reevaluate, you know, what's important in life, to do whatever, I think that that's really telling. And I don't understand. I mean, there's two ways to look at it. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? If you look at Tati's views, Shane's views, Jeffree Star's views, they're all low. They're all down, right? James Charles's views are down too, but James Charles somehow, his core fan base and stuff, the accusations and stuff about him have just kind of slid under the rug. I feel like where James Charles has actually done something illegal, where he should be held responsible and should be, you know, something should happen with that, I feel like nothing did. And his stuff kind of swept under the rug so much like easier and faster than things that Shane and Jeffree did. And they just said some questionable things on the internet. And it makes me wonder, like, why does James get a pass? And why are we allowing this to happen? And I don't really know. It's very confusing to me. Is the fact that he didn't leave at all the reason he's getting a pass? Is the fact that his audience is probably a much younger audience the reason he's getting a pass? That could be the reason, because the thing is, these young kids and these young teenagers, they can't comprehend that what's happening is wrong, because they're like, as a teenager, you're like, oh, if an older person wants to talk to me, oh, that's just cool. You're just cool. But as an adult, you realize that an older person talking to a super younger person is wrong. So it's like, is that the reason he's getting like the pass that he did? But he hasn't separated himself away from anything. He hasn't done anything to improve himself that we've seen online or whatever. In fact, he's just out here doing the same problematic stuff over and over and over again, taunting the people that want to hold him accountable by posting pictures that are like sexual in nature on Instagram at like arcades and stuff, and then shaking his little freshly BBL'd butt on on TikTok and Instagram and stuff. And it's just like, I feel like he hasn't learned anything. And it makes me wonder, like, is this an age thing because he's so much younger than them? But he is an adult, so like, there's no excuse for that. You're an adult. You need to catch up, right? Like, you've lived the life of a million kings, having all the money and power that you have, so you should be a lot more mature emotionally than like the average person your age. But you're still hanging out with teenagers, so I feel like you're still stuck in that teenage mindset. It just makes me wonder, like, what is going on there? Because I feel like James is still stuck in that toxic life. And Jeffree, Shane, and Tati, they got out. And not that saying that moving out of LA is the answer, because that's not it. But they did the work to try to make themselves whole again and to try to move past what happened and mature. They realized that what happened was really, really traumatic and dramatic and just not healthy. And they did what they could to get away from that. Where James Charles is still hanging out with the same toxic people, you know, and he's just still up to the same old tricks. I don't know. For me, that's just funny. Let me know what you think about that in the comment section down below. That's kind of just what I wanted to talk about in today's video. Let me know what you think about all that. I think that I applaud Jeffree, Shane, and Tati for moving away. I think that I applaud their efforts to grow and to move forward and stuff. But with James, I just can't say that I respect the guy because he hasn't done anything to do any of that. And I don't know, that's just kind of how I feel about it. But let me know what you think about all this drama in the comment section down below. I'd love to hear from you. And that's going to be it for today's video, you guys. If you did enjoy it, make sure you give me a big thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel down below. Don't forget to ring the bell so you're notified of all my future videos when they do post. Remember, all Shelby bells ring the bell. And yeah, if you enjoyed today's video, YouTube should be suggesting a couple more down here for you to choose from, so I'd love it if you did that. And aside from that, I'll see you in the next video. Bye, guys.